Welcome to Song Performer, which in this case we're talking about a theatre performer. And there's some special things in here which have been added for a friend of mine who's as bad at learning lines to plays as I am at learning lines to songs. So here we go. Right. This is a poem come song by quite a famous Scottish poet, songwriter, bard by the name of Robert Burns. Rab Burns, or Rabbie Burns as he's known in Scotland. Okay, so let me take you through how you would use Song Performer to perform and learn this poem. Okay, this is a good one because with my Scottish accent it kind of lends itself to this, even if a few people might not know some of the words. This one's a good example because a lot of the poems he wrote were about a couple of hundred years ago, and they were using words that we don't use nowadays. Even some of them I don't understand, although I can pronounce them correctly. Okay, so let's get going with this, which is I'm sure you're interested in. Okay, so Song Performer runs in a browser. It doesn't need to be connected to the internet once you've got it up and running. All your media, i.e. your songs, lines to plays, poems, etc. are all held on your device. So this is good, means that I don't have any issues with copyright because nothing's stored on servers at my side, and you can protect your whatever you have on your device unless you share it with other people, and again it's a file you're sharing, it's not stored in our servers. Okay, so let's get going with this. So I can do things like change the text size. Obviously it's going to depend on your device how you want to see this, but as performing it, right, that's me playing. Now this will set, you can set up a reading speed on this and that you can go through it as you want. So if it gets a bit slow or you're on like a phone and you need to advance it quicker or back, it's not, you know, it wasn't how you thought it was going to be, then you can go back and forward using these buttons. Okay, now if I want to learn this, I can put this into learn mode, which you can do from here or here. The same toggle does the same thing. Okay, so you immediately notice that there's some words lined out here, which is kind of handy. Now, so I can take this all across. If this was a line of Shakespeare or something, it might have lots of lines, so this is why it's like this. And then I can get this to the point that I literally have just got some keywords at the beginning and the end. Or I can just get rid of the whole thing right there. Now what I can also do, which is kind of cool, is for each section, if I click on that, so I can just work on that section. And I can play this just like I've done with Flash I showed you previously. So you got that option as well. And, I'll show you how you can read it aloud. And this is functionality I will be adding in much more depth in the future. But let me show you how I would have set this up at the beginning. Okay, so if I click on here, I can go to edit. Okay, and you're in the builder. What this does is you can set this into sections. So I could put verse headings on each one of these. Right. If something was getting a bit long to display on your device, you can insert, merge bits, etc. So if I go back to seeing this, you can see now it's like that. Okay. Now if we go and edit again, because you're probably thinking that's a bit involved to do that for a whole play, and you'd be right. So what I can do is click on there, and this is how you create things at the beginning. And you would typically just copy from whatever your source material was. Maybe it's a song you're writing or something you've got to learn. And then what you do is for every verse, every section rather, just have these two characters here. Alright, so if I wanted to write some modern Burns poetry, I could stick some of my verses in at the end. A lot of my there you go. So you see, it's got time there. What this is doing is I'm setting up my reading speed, and what it's doing is counting the words and using it typical reading speeds of people. So I can reduce that, you see, or I can increase that, and that will affect here for each verse. So unlike a song where you pretty much are working to beats per minute and how you deliver it, and if you're working to use Song Performer to sing as a record, you would put these times in, and it's a bit different. But in this case, that's all you really need for reading. And for example, if you're reading some Shakespeare, you as you learn it, or you may start to add your own bits to it, and then you'll know how, you know, at what times yours going to be, because there may be things happening on stage, etc. So you may have a pause before you go on to your next line while people walk about on stage and do, you know, theatre stuff. So this allows you to work with that, and that's why it's each section, because we all know that when you're doing stuff on stage, it's not constant. You have these breaks, okay? And I will be making some of this stuff a bit clever, but right now it does what you need to do. Okay, so going back to here. There's my there. You see there's no verse heading there because I haven't added one. Right. Now, I want to show you something. In certain browsers, you can have add-ons. Microsoft Edge, you got this thing where you can read aloud. It's one of the options. So, if I, you know, go here.
Cradle, where they most breed and haunt, I have observed, the air is delicate.
Alright, so I can point this to the text and it can read it aloud. This is more really for theatre. It's not a lot good for singing, although that technology is coming. I work with AI, it's getting scary. But what you could do with this is, as you were learning stuff, you can use that to maybe have playing, and you can begin over it as you're going along. Just a little add-on. It works in the browser. It's not something I've had to do, but I am adding this for theatre where you'll be able to choose individual voices, etc. So that'll be cool. And then you can have gaps where it's your turn to speak, which should, yeah, could be quite interesting. But for now, everything we need to do is in there. So that's it. Song Performer's free to use. This functionality is all there. Have a go, see if it works for you. It's another tool in your arsenal. I've included, as you load up Song Performer, there's some made up songs, so I don't get copyright infringements, and some Shakespeare and some Rab Burns poems, just so you can have a play with it and see how it all works. And I hope you enjoy it. Okay, any questions, just let us know. Make comments in the video or something. I'll get back to you. Let me know how you get on with it. Thank you. Bye bye.